Most people think recovery is about quitting something. What if the real reason people relapse is because they never change who they are? Hillary Malberger Powers has helped people break free from addiction and rebuild their lives for decades. So, Hillary, first, what do most people get wrong about recovery that causes them to fail, even when they are trying their best?
Well, I think the biggest stop is when someone gets sober and they stop, they think they're done. That's it. All they have to do is stop drinking or using some form of addiction, maybe food or sex or gambling. They think now that the outside problem's done, my insides will heal. But that's like just it's like putting new clothes on and you're full of mud. It's not going to take the dirt away. So it's the old saying, it's an inside job, and most people don't want to work at cleaning out their insides. They just want to look good. They'd rather look good than feel good.
All right, beautiful. And so today is not just about addiction, as Hillary pointed out. It's about identity, self-judgment, forgiveness, and how you stop being controlled by your past. Now, before we go deeper, Hillary, your story starts in a very different place. You were
Hmm.
a child actress, including voicing Sally Brown in the Peanuts cartoons, one of my favorites. And
Hmm.
then your path took a very different turn. So, what changed with you?
God, what changed besides everything? As a kid, when I just wanted to be a kid, but my parents had other designs. I mean, I grew up in California. And, it's the land of make believe. And most people
Hmm.
transport to California to reinvent themselves. They want to become somebody. And my mother, coming from New York, had all these kids. She didn't want any, which was kind of interesting, but she got a lot of fame from having all these seven little kids that all looked the same. We look like the Kennedy family. So she got a lot of fame on herself from that, and being a narcissist and an alcoholic. I mean, she was digging for anything to get her ego, a slam to her ego. So she took us all to downtown, and I happened to get this job as Sally and Charlie Brown Peanuts. So as Dr. Bob, that when you're taken from one ecosystem and thrown drastically into another, especially when you're a child, because you're just learning how to figure out what's going on. We're born with two fears: not getting fed and loud noises. And when you get induced in this environment where I am required to be somebody else, played havoc on my psyche. So I always thought I had to be somebody to be loved, to be appreciated, to be thanked to. So I grew up with a stage mother who pushed me to be whatever they want you to be. That's what she would say. And she would say things like, I don't want to hear your feelings. They don't matter because they're not profitable. So you need to just be what they want you to be. So I started building my character in fear. I got to be a good little girl. I got to be okay. And so my little trauma response started way early. I have to be the perfect little girl. So I built this character in my people pleasing response. That there's people pleasing, the loner, you have the controller. Well, I'm queen people pleaser. So here I am, this cute little girl that, how are you doing? Great. Everything fine. Yes. Are you tired? No. Because I want you to love me. So I put this mask on such an early age.
How old were you?
I was 5. I got my first job at 5. And
Wow.
so from there, I looked like Shirley Temple, so I booked all jobs over and over. So I was taken out of my school. I was already trying to feel safe, where I had a sense of belonging. I was trying to get self-worth and self-esteem and learn what a productive day was. And I was ripped out of it and told to not be Hillary. So
Okay.
that
So,
played on me so young. And it sounds, I see these parents who want their kids to be in the film industry. And I have to ask, do you want to be in the film industry, or does your child? Because a
so
kid just wants to, I mean, every kid, you wanted to be cops and robbers, the pirates, or a princess. But here
The
I
play.
was.
Hey.
Yeah, I just want to
Mhm.
be in my creative mind that now was stunted. I had to be in my thought process instead of my imagination. Wasn't allowed, I didn't learn how to read until I was 11 years old because I
Okay,
was
so that's a good point for us, Hillary. So we've got the impact of that and the
thank
change,
you.
and we're going to explore that with you and understand the other ramifications of being having to go through that. But before we do, I want to first remind our audience that you're watching Well Wave Now, and this is where timeless wisdom lights your wellness path.
So, Hillary, thanks for joining us today on this episode. It's very fascinating, your career, getting into that, and what you've learned through that experience, and when we talk about addiction, most people feel like that's the problem, right? And
Mm.
usually that's not. It's a response to other problems, and so that's what we want to go into a little more in depth. For you, did you think you were really trying to manage something or escape from something with addiction?
You know, I speak about it. I had built my spirit was broken by 12 and 13. Like I didn't feel like no matter what I did was enough because my mother wasn't satisfied. I needed to make more money. I had to look better. You got to get this. Like I was always chasing that bouncing ball.
Hmm.
So when I I didn't drink and use because I didn't because it tasted good and I wanted to have fun. We talk about it in program that we like the effects. And my effects was, it's called spirit for a reason. My spirit was broken and I found this other spirit that all of a sudden I wasn't Hillary. Like all
So,
of a sudden I could be whatever you want me to be. I could be whatever I wanted to be.
so when did you find this other this evil spirit, Hillary?
Well, I remember seeing my mother drink and I'd say, I'm never gonna be like her. She's crazy. We used to, I'm never gonna be like my parents. I'm like my parents now. It's like,
Mhm.
and I would say I'm not gonna be like her because I saw her as an angry drunk and she was mad and she was always screaming and yelling. And when I drank, the first time I drank with my sister and I wanted to be accepted with my family. I wanted to be a part of. There's there's that drinking. It's like the camaraderie, like the watering hole when people gather. I really want a sense of belonging. And I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere because I didn't even know who I was. And so when I tasted that drink, it was almost like, wow, now I'm not Hillary. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not saying the wrong things. I don't care. I'm not 4'11". I'm not flat chested. I don't think anything. I just think I'm someone else.
How old were how old were you when you got what my buddy used to call your first taste of liquid courage?
In my liquid courage, I was 13.
13.
Yeah. And it was the first time I threw up and I said, God, I can't wait to do that again. And it wasn't because I threw up. It was because, oh my God, I found out how not to be me anymore.
Wow.
I was a disappointment to my family, but I was more of a disappointment to me because I thought if I could be what you wanted me to be, then you'd love me. So I started building this when I get over there, I'll be happy. When I get that drunk, I'll be happy. When I get that job over there, over there. And the more I went over there, the less I connected with this little girl that was just, I was scared. I was hurt. I was disappointed. I was in fear all the time. But you would ask how I was doing. I go, I'm great. I'm happy. Thank you. Smile. Because
Hmm.
I would rather look good than feel good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of the California approach, right? Fake it till you make it, but look good.
Totally, totally. Well, it's kinda down here in Florida too. Boy, there's a lot of
Mhm.
plastic surgeons down here. Just kidding. Bada boom, mic drop. Just kidding.
What you're describing is quite a story. And I would venture to say that that story affects at least 80% or more of young kids.
Oh, yeah.
The
Mhm.
same story. Yeah, it's like, will you love me?
Mhm,
I'm not good enough. I'm a loser, whatever. I'm not smart.
mhm,
I mean, there's so many conclusions that invented conclusions that little kids come up with, and it's really sad because we don't know it's happening. Parents don't know that it's happening, but it
mhm.
happened to them when they were younger, and they didn't know it happened to them. So it's like
Right.
been going on and on and on forever. I can personally identify with your story. I have
Yeah,
similar, but we all
it's
do.
that generational curse, as they call it.
Well, I like the way you describe it. I mean, you describe it very clearly and very eloquently, and it's a roadmap for every person at any age to take a
Mhm,
look at themselves and see what happened and know 2 things, they're not alone, and it's
mhm.
okay that it happened, and we have to be okay that it happened. If we're not, then, we're sunk.
Yeah. What do they say? What you resist persists.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's when trauma, when you have trauma, it's almost like I always call it like an earthquake. It's like when that jolt happens, the plates move, you're never the same. So I'm no longer this joyful girl that took 2 hours to get to school because I was picking flowers and I was talking to horses and dogs and cats, and all of a sudden I'm in a hurry. I'm afraid, live, die, good, bad, black. The duality sets in. And then I have to pick a trauma response. Am I going to be the loner, which is the one that I later became, the runaway, the getting high, sitting in a book? Kids do it with the phone. They're dealing with trauma. They stick their head in the phone. They don't have to, they close off their world, the controllers, the bully in school. It's got to be the right one, always the leader of the pack, or the people pleaser, the boy that does anything and gets beat up, or the girl that sleeps with anybody, or because I gotta feel love. If I get it from the outside, then I'll be okay on the inside. And I always call that, I gotta turn my funnel around. My
Yeah.
funnel's not backwards.
So in that environment, did the alcohol help you? Did it
Well,
what did it do for you?
it's
Pardon?
the illusion of it, because I
Mhm.
think I have control now. So I think I'm controlling it to make me feel better, but then the drink drinks me.
So when did you realize that it had control and you didn't?
God, must have been 16. I used to joke around and say, I'm an alcoholic, but I'm a good one, because I was
Mhm.
judging me by my
Right.
mother. Because I only seen mean drunks, the kind with the paper bag, or the one that flash kids. Like, that was the one. I'm not like that. I kept separating myself. And that's also part of alcoholism. I'm different than you. I want to be different, but I want to connect. So this message in my mind that says, even though I can find help, I don't deserve the help. So I
Right.
keep separating myself from my brothers and sisters. And I'm saying that, in the world, not my physical brothers and sisters. My disease is a disease of isolation, of loneliness, of contempt, and all these characteristics that start building on each other. And all of a sudden, I don't even know who I am. All I know is once I start, I can't stop. I hate it, but I need it. And it's the only way I can find a connection. Even though when I get loaded or drunk or high with somebody, we all go in our own little worlds. We're not even connected. You don't have conversations that connect. It's like one person's talking about this and you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you go on to your story and then the other one goes on. It's like nobody's connecting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So now it's got you realize you started when you're 13. You realize pretty early, 3 years later at 16, that it was controlling you.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes people say it takes a real low point or a traumatic event to make a change. Did you have a low point that did that? And if so, what was it like physically, mentally, and emotionally, or something else happened to you that says I got to take
Well,
control now?
when you now become the loner, becomes the controller, no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm defiant. I start dropping out of school. I've got a ninth grade education. I don't care. I need to know the streets. Like, who am I? You know, I become. I don't even recognize. And then what ends up happening is the snowball gets down, down. And by the time I was 21 years old, I mean, I'd already been homeless. I'd been to juvenile hall for assault and battery. I was in a foster home. I lived on the streets. And needless to say, I didn't aspire to have these things happening to me, but
Mhm.
it's almost as if it happened to me because I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't have tools to go, oh my God, my life's falling apart, or bounce it off anyone, because I had pushed everyone away because I didn't feel good enough to be loved. And
Yeah.
by the time I was 21, I overdosed. And it was the first time I said, if there's a God, help me.
Yeah.
And my grand mal seizure stopped. And I would love to say, and then I became, Florence Nightingale, and then I helped people. And it was, I mean, it doesn't happen there. There's no such thing as all of a sudden. That's in Disney. That's
Mhm.
in movies.
Mhm.
Life. And
Well,
when you
Hillary,
get
what
to the
what you're describing really aligns with, unresolved trauma and how that
100%,
really drives behavior. And, I've got a question for Dr. Bob, and all of your experience with dealing with individuals. What's been your experience with unresolved trauma, and what are
yeah,
your thoughts on that?
Boy, that's a great question, and I'm
mm,
not sure everybody listening is gonna
like
like
it.
what I have to say,
Mhm.
because I'm really, in a deep inquiry these days within the past year or 2 about trauma because I meet so many people, and it's obvious that they have the trauma because they're still working on it, whatever age they are. They could be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and they got trauma that they're still working on, and it affects them, and I'm thinking to myself, why does it take why do people focus on the trauma for years and years and years? Can't trauma be, you know, alleviated quickly somehow? And I've been working on that. Well, I get it, Hillary. You're shaking your head no, but I think I have ways of doing it now.
Yeah, I
Because
love that.
people are either looking if people are focused on trauma, where is their focus? It's in the past, and you talked about it, Hillary, clearing
Yeah.
out the past. It's actually taking the past, which is they're dragging with them, might even be in front of their face, and
Hmm.
putting it behind them so they can be free to create a new future called free of everything, free of trauma, free of whatever it is. And I think that there's ways to quickly do that, Hillary, but yet a lot of people are really stuck for a long time. It's really too bad because we don't have the tools. We don't know how to
No.
how to do it. How do you clear trauma? There's people looking at that, all kinds of people who have, whether they have a medical background or a
Hmm.
holistic in the background, or they have no background at all. Everybody's searching. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping I'm coming up with a real cool way to clear trauma fast. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I do things for myself because, I call it that's trauma is my Uber driver. I tell my Uber driver I want to use the nicest house with the nicest guy and the nicest, and it gets in the car, it looks at my meter and it says, "Oh, you're not enough. You're not lovable." And it takes me to that guy that beats me up, the car that doesn't work, the house that's filled with madness. Because my Uber, it's like that's what's driving me in the day I'm in. It's not because my keynote is no longer leading with your wound. My wound picked every single thing in my life. And I think I'm doing something different. But if I wonder, my brain is where I have all my hurt, my anger, my disappointment. So, how am I going to have a new life if I haven't taken, like you said, Dr. Bob, you said people want it right now. That's that
Mhm.
infantile response. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And it's learning how to, in order for me to even look at my trauma, I need to stabilize. How do I do that? My seeing, my tasting, my touching, my hearing, my smelling. Those are my senses. God gave me those free senses. The sixth sense is the connection to a power other than me, greater than me, more loving, God knows. And I call that God. I tap into that. I don't know what it looks like. All I know is that when I change my frequency and say, God, 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 all of a sudden I can simmer down. I eat better. When I got sober, I started not getting loaded. So there I'm no longer ingesting things. So there's I start taking care of the eating, the tasting. I start surrounding myself around people that give me a hug, pat me on the back, and I flinch. There's my response. Am I going to be hit? And I start to learn in the moment I'm in, not everybody hurts you. And I remember I had this mentor. I went to school to be a masseuse when I was 22. And I did it not because I wanted to open up a massage place. I did it so I could rewire my brain that hands are not for hurting. It's the opposite. So I started turning my funnel around. I started taking my characteristic of always afraid. What can I do? What's the opposite? Trust.
I also want to make sure that our listeners can translate all this into how to look at those signs for themselves, how to realize for themselves that they may have some of these same issues. So we want to better understand that, and we'll get into that with you, Hillary, right after the break. Let's
Mhm.
first take a quick moment to share some Something that many of our listeners have found helpful, if you are looking for particular ways to support your health beyond today's conversation, take a look at some of the solutions that we personally use as hosts of this program and recommend. These are tools that are designed to support things like metabolic health, pain, recovery, and overall wellness. Brain IQ Pain Eraser Roll-On is one of those. It addresses pain and is used by our very own Tim Daniels. After several years of being a D1 athlete and an avid exerciser, he's put a lot of wear and tear on those knees of his. And so he gets relief with Brain IQ, a pain eraser. It delivers instant targeted relief using advanced nanotechnology combined with powerful natural ingredients that absorb quickly right where you need it. No pills, no mess, just roll it on and get back to moving. It's ideal for lower back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, joint discomfort, and everyday aches and pains. Makes it great for the active adults, busy professionals, or anyone trying to just get rid of pain and get back to moving again. Compact, easy to use, and effective. It's called Brain IQ Pain Eraser. Works when and where you need it. We will leave a link in the show notes for you in this episode. And let's get back to the conversation, Tim.
All right. So thanks, Greg. So Hillary, you've got the stop there. And many people try to stop. Most that have addiction try one or time at some point or another to stop, but they can't. They can't. So now let's get back to what you were talking about. Let's get specific on what actually worked for you. So first, on the physical part of the addiction, what specifically helped you to break the physical addiction?
Well, you have to get really sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's like if you eat a bag of chocolate, you have to go, oh my God, I'm so sick. I never want to do it again. So my ego gets smashed, meaning my ego is what was driving me. I got this. I don't need anybody. I don't need anyone. I'm right. I can't hear anything because my mind closed because my ego's protecting me, and it's either I'm amazing, there's that trauma response, or I'm the worst thing in the world. I hate myself. I carve at my wrist. But what ended up happening is when I had that physical bottom, in the body, mind, and spirit, my body was done. My body was so tired. My spirit, thank God, was broken, and my mind was fractured, meaning everything I was thinking was hurt, angry, disappointed. So I was at a very vulnerable state. I mean, you can either get, it's like when kids are very vulnerable, that's how they get controlled. But I was so vulnerable, and I placed myself in an environment where I saw all these peers of mine doing something that's that herd mentality. I got involved in the program where I saw these other people who had come from places I'd been, and they were smiling and they were happy and they were going to work and they had jobs. And I was like amazed because I felt like I was at the bottom. And I always say to the girls I work with, and when they say, oh my God, I lost everything, what I say is, thank God you're ready, because my ego can't find a way to figure it out. I'm more teachable. And that way I was at a place where I surrounded myself around other people of my likeness that were going for this journey. And they told me to start praying to something other than me. And I started my prayer, which was, God, I don't know who you are, but can you help me not drink today?
Everyone, regardless of what their addiction is, whether it's food, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever, there's always going to be those cravings or those triggers. How did you handle those when, or did you just completely run away from it and say, okay, yeah, I don't have that anymore? I think everyone kind of still has those triggers, right?
Yeah, well, see, you go to the behavior modification, you have to start doing different things. It's the body, the mind, and the spirit. I start eating differently. I start drinking more water. I mean, little stuff like that. That's how I start stabilizing. I start hanging out. I don't hang out at the bars. I start all of a sudden I go to sleep a little earlier. Like my body, I had to go through. It takes a while. And say, I'm in a hurry. I want it right now. Right now. That's the addict. The addict is always in a hurry because it's in that fear factor. Got to get there. Got to get there. I don't know where there is, but I would practice in the day I'm in saying, breathing. I take a breath and I put my hand on my heart and on my diaphragm, and I'd make sure I pushed out so I could feel my breath. So I started getting very in touch with me. which is the
Mhm.
person I was running from the whole time.
Do you still
And
have
then
those cravings today?
oh, no, it's been thank
Okay.
you, God, removed. I've gone to other things. I went through I was bulimic for many, many years, so I clogged the hole. You don't take care of the spiritual malady, the water will find its way out. So I found food. I changed seats on the old Titanic, so to speak, and I until I was able to look at that and say, wow, now I'm using this to not feel. And it's a one day at a time thing. Every day,
Even today, it's that way for you? Even today?
no, I don't have my addiction stuff. I get anxious, but I know I have my own way of stabilizing myself when all of a sudden I see something that reminds me, puts me back in my old mind, my trauma mind. I'd say, thank God for John Bradshaw, my hero. I've learned techniques of going, honey, it's okay. No one's going to hurt you. I'm not going anywhere.
That's a good one, Hillary. But now you and Dr. Bob, you two ought to go
We
out
could
and come
out.
together because y'all just rush things and don't want to peel the onion. You want to just break it open and eat it. So next, we will get into in the next segment is now breaking free is one thing, and then how do you stay free is the next enough part. So that's the next part. We do want to come back to that, but before we get there, one other part on the breaking free part.
Mhm,
What do you, as you work with people and as you think about yourself, aside from handling the cravings? None
mhm,
of that was tough for me when I quit tobacco. Old
mhm.
Nebraskan, I used to like to dip that Nebraska and
Oh, yeah.
cravings came back for years. But aside, what else is tough early on in the addiction? What do people underestimate that they really should re-estimate, say, this is going to be a little tough and I need to be prepared for this in the early stages of breaking.
I kind of think that we have this, it's like happily ever after kind of syndrome. You go to a rehab, you get 30 days in, and you're going to be a new person. And I always say I'm a Cadillac. My Cadillac
Mhm.
has been beat to shit. I'm never going to be a Porsche. And I was really happy that I was told that I'm not going to be someone else. I'm just going to be the best Hillary I possibly can be. And it's going to take a minute. And that's the difference between having that infantile ego, which most addicts do have. They want what they want, what they want it, and they want it right now. And it's, unfortunately, these today, I'm not real hip on rehabs right now because it's keep coming back. Oh, get high again, keep coming back, keep coming back. But um, if you can get into a community, like I said, it's body, stay, get clean. That's the first hurdle.
Yeah.
Then you got to start filling your mind with some new things, which means like learning who you are. Therapy's great. There's all the different modalities, exercise, eating different, pray, get a spiritual life. I'm a spirit. I got a spirit in me. I got to tap into that. I've been running from that one forever. So I got to take little steps on getting to know who I am. And
Mhm.
I got to surrender and say, wow, I am just one scared girl, man. Can you help me? And I learned how to ask for help. Because when
How old were you when you finally felt you were balanced enough to just live the life the way you wanted to live it?
I would say the last 25 years have been, I've been okay with my mistakes and I still am okay. I'm never going to get it done, meaning it's always going to have something else coming up. And I'm never going to get it right because there's no such thing as perfection. And I've accepted that. That's like, dude, man, I say to the addict, I said, there's a difference between admitting I'm an alcoholic or I have a drug problem or an eating problem or a sex addiction to admitting it to accepting it.
Yeah.
Accepting it's like I admit I'm broke, I have no money. Bingo. What's acceptance? I get a job. There's the difference. I start changing the action. Because if it's that old say body movement. I start rewiring my neuron receptors. I start rewiring my brains by changing my actions. All of a sudden, I start feeling better because it's a thought becomes a feeling, becomes an action, and then becomes my character. So if I change my thoughts when my thoughts go, I'm not good enough. No, I'm all right. All of a sudden I feel better. And then all of a sudden I do better. And then all of a sudden my character, I become, I show up. People want to be around me. So it's a process, but we live in a society. We have less than 11 seconds. 11 seconds swipe. That's all my attention goes for.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
social
I
media
think
world.
the hardest thing for everybody on the planet is to change their thoughts. I think that's
Totally.
the hardest thing on the planet.
So breaking that cycle, right? And becoming free from that addiction, it's one thing. It's staying free now is the struggle. I mean, how many of us know people that have successfully quit smoking 15, 50, 60 times? Well, they didn't really quit, right? If they've successfully quit 50 times, right? So it's that struggle to stay quit and stay free for yourself. And that's what we want to get into next in this next segment. In your story, Hillary, you were able to make that, that shift that majority of people can't make because they just, they just still are stuck in that one place. So I wanted to get into that and what are the core practices that keep you free today. You talked a lot about, prayer or meditation. What else keeps you free?
Prayer and meditation is my big thing. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I say to myself, sure, I do my prayers. I have a set row. I do my prayers before I open my eyes. I don't even want to start because the minute I open my eyes, my brain goes, whoa, what time is it? What am I going to do? Oh my God, it's dark out. Oh my God, it's light out. So I keep my eyes closed and I say my prayers. And I thank God for this amazing day ahead of me. I keep it really simple, really, really simple. And then I have structure, which is most addicts or anybody with an addiction screws structure because I want to feel good right now. Dopamine hit right now, right now, right now. And structure takes time. It's like building a house, takes a minute. That's it. So I don't want the structure, but I have to do it anyway. I have people I check in with. I have my peers, my mentors, my elders. I become an elder, a mentor for someone else. I mean, we're in a big world. It's a we world. It's not a me world. When it's a me world, I'm lonely, I'm angry, and I turn on the world. And so I've learned it, that getting into a community, I don't care if you go to church, temple, I don't care. Get into something other than this all day long. This is where all my pain and my memories live. And so when stuff comes up, I get to go, whoa, where did I learn that? I start questioning things. Like, that's not my belief. When my mom said to me, you'll never be as smart as me, I stored that.
You,
And so I always thought I'm an idiot.
Oh, gosh.
Who told me?
that's horrible. But you know what?
What,
One
do you
thing that,
do?
yeah.
As
I'm
a
sorry.
young kid, there's nothing you can do with it, really.
No. So what do? You start believing everything because my parents gave that to me. It's a gift. I'm a good child. It was the only gift my mother gave me was her trauma. I took it because that's all she gave me.
One
And I
one characteristic that I see about, common addictive personality is very self-centered, right? Focused 100% on me, 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 me. But
yeah.
you started serving others, which is also a very Christ-like principle.
100%. How can I be of service? I have it on my bathroom wall. God, who do
Yeah.
you want me to serve today? I don't know. And then I make it exciting. Oh my God, who am I going to meet today? How can I touch somebody?
Beautiful.
I say there's a me in team, but there isn't in dick or bitch. Something funny I say because it's all about me. But what about
Yep. See, you and Dr. Bob again now to get together. Both of you want to keep us from being a family show. But that's all right.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, well, let's try later.
So you started helping others and you put it so you also stop judging the world. How did you stop? Your mother basically gave you judgment of yourself in there. And your Uber driver used to take you places to where you judge yourself. So how did you stop judging yourself though, Hillary?
Well, when I started realizing that my mom did hurt me once, and I continue to hurt myself with what she did that one time.
Nice,
So
nice.
I made a decision, and a decision's nothing until an action's followed by it. Otherwise, it's just a thought.
Yeah.
My decision was I was going to practice in the day I'm in when the time came up that when I started, that thought came in, I would say, That's not my. I started seeing by me giving to other people and their faces and their reactions that maybe my peers knew me more than my mother knew me. And I started looking at my mother and not, and because I decided not to be a victim anymore, because that's an identity. That's a self
Yeah.
centered pity party identity that I know a lot of people are clinging on to because they don't know who they are otherwise. And I
Yeah.
made a decision that the reason why I wasn't finding a happy life is because I'm the one keeping myself stuck. So I started to look at my mother and I thought, my mother, what about my mom? She was molested by her father. She was an only child. She was an elite, so she was separated. And I can imagine, I thought, wow, my mother only had to offer her pain. That's all she had to give me. Thank you, but no thank you. I am going to start giving myself what I didn't get. And John Bradshaw's the Wounded Child really helped me. And I've done all the workbooks. He was my boss when I worked at a rehab. And I was very blessed to be around an environment where other people, no matter how frightened they were willing to go deep down in their own personal basement and go, where did I get that principle? It's not even mine. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's not my thought. And I started little by little, one day at a time. Like I said, it doesn't happen like that. We all want it like that. That's why we have the Instagram and TikTok. Oh, here's the guy. No, here's the guy. And here's the guy. And here, it's like, no, 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 no. Simmer down, Turbo. No, it's right here, right now. What can you do in the moment you're in? And I go to prayer. God, please help me with my thoughts hurting me. And all of a sudden I go, okay. Oh, look at that butterfly. I turn my attention. I
Yeah.
turn the other cheek. I see something else. Like that creates a feeling,
Right.
creates an action, creates a different character.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
what one of the things is first, like I never can pronounce the guy's last name, Mark Januszewski or something like that, teaches the 7 laws of the mind. And one of the 7 laws you hit on there is the law of substitution. It says, I may not be able to stop a thought from coming to me, but I can substitute another thought immediately and go away from it. Now, but the other part though here. So now you've kind of gotten out of the judgment of yourself, but part of that I could relate it. It gets as a corollary. Though sometimes with addicts and not even addicts, just in general, as we think about things we've done in life, it's you got to forgive yourself to get over everything,
Mm.
not judge. So how to, we're not going to be one of those exposés that goes through all the things that you shared with us on things you did in your life and your at the pits of your addiction. You don't need to hear all that. But what's key is how do you forgive yourself? How do those things?
I learned how to say, okay, I did that. I learned how to view it differently. I mean, we've all done some stuff. I mean, I could shake everybody on this platform's little dusty little cabinet that's got everything stuffed down. You can't kill that part of me. I exposed the things I did. I looked at it. I saw the reasons that drove me there. I am not what I've done. My thoughts of what I've done is who I am. And what I've learned how to do is so what? So what I did that. And then what? Okay. Who am I today? I'm not I don't resemble that old character. So
Right.
that's where my self-forgiveness, how do I get self-forgiveness? I got to get out of my self-centeredness. So when I help another human being and I see their lights go on and their smile, I know I'm forgiven.
So I teach that forgiveness is a declaration. It
Mhm.
has to, it's all it is. It's like I declare that I forgive myself for X, Y, Z, and you got to be okay with it. And what I learned the hard way earlier in life is that once I was forgiving either myself or somebody else, the whole scenario that required forgiveness resurfaced. And I'm thinking, I already dealt with that. Why do I have to deal with that again? But you know what? I had to do it. And because I didn't deal with it, because I thought I shouldn't have to deal with it, it created problems for me until I realized that, hey, if it comes up again, it just requires another declaration.
Well,
Yeah.
here it comes. Oh,
Yeah.
I call her Helga. That's my alter ego. I'm like, oh, Helga's back. She's back.
Thank you for coming up again so I can deal with it again and have it disappear so
wow.
quickly and challenge me to do that.
But see, my reactive time has changed Before I sat and I felt, oh, poor, oh my God, it's happening again. Now it's like, oh shit, here it is again. Okay, oopsie. Oops. You know, my mom, I would get hurt if I did something wrong. I spill a glass of milk, I got smacked. Today, when I do that, because I'm responsible for Hillary, I'm now the best. I don't reparent because I have some bad ideas what parents are. So I say I'm the best foster mom ever. And I re-foster mom myself. And I say things like, oopsie, it's just a glass of milk, honey. It's okay. So I do the self-soothing. I do the reparenting. I heal that little inner child. She's not going anywhere. She's still there.
Yeah.
And
That's what I did with my son. Totaled my antique Mustang convertible.
oopsie.
Oopsie.
Oops.
He was
Oh,
thinking that
you know what? Thank you, God. I had that car for so long. How awesome. Awesome. I'm so lucky I had it for that long. I
Time to
also
clear that.
think that's that old saying is be grateful it's come up. That means
Right.
that you get to deal with it. You don't have to do shit. You
Absolutely.
can
And
keep
I'm gonna put a label on what you just said there too. Another one of the 7 laws of the mind is, I think it's the law of dual thought, which is you can assign any feeling you want to
exactly.
anything occurs. So it doesn't have to be a bad
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
And I love the old Rule 62. Don't take yourself so serious. That's a
Yeah.
hard.
Hey, I've got a question for you. You know, we're talking about forgiveness. It's one thing to forgive yourself, but have you been able to forgive your mom?
50%. I love my mother.
That's excellent.
I don't want to be sick anymore. I got to look at, you know, I got, because I was able to see her as a human being instead of Satan, which we used to call her as her nickname. You know, I started looking at her and I started looking at who she was. Like, I couldn't drum up empathy because I was so invested in hating her. And I was so invested in being a victim. I was so invested of not forgiving her because that gave me a reason why my life was such a mess up. I could blame her.
Yeah.
So when I looked at her and I thought my mother had been through so much trauma and pain, she didn't want to beat us. She didn't want to be that mom. She didn't come out of the womb and say, I can't wait to torture 7 kids and my dad. Something happened to her. So I started seeing her as a human being and I started to look at everything she did to me. What character did I develop? Who did I become in retaliation? Wow. She wouldn't pay for my arm to get healed when I broke it. And when I broke her arm, which I got tired of hitting, I forgive myself. I said the same thing she said to me. You're too expensive. You're another mouth to feed. We're not fixing it. So I became what I hated the most. And until I looked at that and I made amends for I wasn't looking for her to say sorry. That's between her and her maker. I needed to be the best person. So once I started seeing her and I forgave her and I looked at and I asked for her forgiveness, all of a sudden I thought, why am I holding on to this?
Yeah.
I choose to say, I forgive you, Mom, because otherwise I'm drinking the poison hoping she dies, as the old saying is.
Right.
So is that part of not leading with your wound?
100%. You got to go deep, deep down. Look at who you became as a result of your trauma
Yeah.
because you're keeping it going. Like you have power in the day that you're in. Like you first got to stabilize, like the seeing, tasting, touching, hearing, smelling. Stabilize, turn the phone off, go for a walk, take deep breaths, eat something good, get water in your system, call somebody, cry. Like there's things that you have power over your life to bring you into the moment because trauma makes you feel like you're there again. It's happening again. No, honey, it's not. And then that inner child work of just saying, I'm okay. I'm going to take care of you. I need to feel safe, but I am responsible. I'm a grown up. I'm 60, almost 64. I can't keep saying, well, my mom, sorry, it's just not cute anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, if I want to have a good life, I have everything I have inside of me to get me to the next indicated step, which is like an hour from now. That's it. I can only take little teeny bits. And then I enjoy my day so much because I'm in the moment so much.
So how are you I know you talked about, you look, like you said, at some post in the mirror every day and you say, God, who can I help today? And you look excited about it.
Uh-huh.
How about you've also kind of scaled this help a little bit, haven't you? You know, part of it is like being with us and talking about it, but in other ways, how else are you scaling your help of other people these days?
Well, I have a homing device. Like I literally will walk into a restaurant and I swear to God, I have like a magnet because I'll
Mhm.
get people to talk to me. I mean, I believe that God is using me as an instrument that,
See?
it's almost like you can feel me from the inside. I vibrationally, kinetically, whatever you want to say. When you meet as somebody that seems healthy, you know it. Like you feel it. And I bring people in. I go and I meet women where I go to my meetings or I go on podcasts. I bring in because I'm going to bring in what I am. And what I am, there's a part of me that's still that girl because I'm still a Cadillac. I'm not a Porsche. So I bring them in. And as a result of that, I can say, I know, I get how you're feeling. Not like I mean, God bless you, Bob, a therapist that goes, wow, tell me how you feel. It's like, I get it, dude. I know. I get it. Sorry, Bob. It's the
Yeah, I
shirt.
get it all too because
Shirt.
I've been there.
It's
Been
the
there.
shirt. Everybody comes to the shirt. So it's like I get to have the opportunity to it's really I feel very blessed that my pain has become my most powerful tool to help somebody.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that was the same way for me when I was younger and I had chronic pain after my days playing football. I had back and hip problems and man, with that pain, I had to find answers. I had to get resolve it. And that's how I got into holistic health and healing, you know.
Right. 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 It gets you, it drives you. It's either gonna sink you or it's gonna drive you.
I
You
had
know,
to do something.
yeah, it's that old saying that, thank God for the horrible things. How do I know what I want unless I know what I don't want?
Yeah, it was like you found answers because you had to. I mean, you were either going to find the answers or you were going to die.
That's that hitting bottom. That's why when
Yeah.
I meet girls and they say, I lost everything. My husband left. I'm broke. I'm living on the streets. I go, that's amazing. You're in the best place ever. And they look at me like I'm a batshit
The only
crazy.
place you can go is up from here. Let's do it.
Hello. Yeah. So
Yeah,
let's build a new foundation, one that's stronger instead of on the outside. Let's build on the inside first.
that's
So
true.
along those lines, if it's built on the inside or something else here. If somebody, thank you for all you kind of taken us through today. But and one of the key things you mentioned was you're not the person you were in the past. That help with forgiveness. If let's give somebody a little practical step today right now. If somebody's stuck in the past right now, what can they do in the Hillary Momberger Powers approach?
Well, if they're really stuck in the past, I have a girl right now who keeps going, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. I'm like, okay, well, let's get a pen and paper out. The power of the sword, as they say, the tool is the word. Put on paper, what do you have? Let's focus on what you do have. What's good in your life right here, right now. And if you can't do that, start naming them. Are you breathing? This happened. You start naming all these things. It starts energetically, chemically start shifting. So if I focus is on what's good, good begets good begets good. That what I think about, I bring about. If I'm thinking about things that make me happy, switching my thoughts and being able to dialogue with another human being. Because this one woman I'm working with, she's like, yeah, but. And I said, we're not allowed to say buts. There's no buts around here. We're here from the neck up, no buts. Okay. And I do a lot of play words. They say, I don't know, or I know. I'm like, nope, we're never allowed to say I know, because that's a closed mind. Once you
Yeah,
say, I know, I can't hear anything. We're not allowed to say that. So we got some rules. And then what I do is I learned it. I help them to look at, don't take yourself so serious. It's not that serious, but you don't understand. I feel like I don't care how you feel. Let's get to what you're thinking about because
yeah,
your feelings are going to change, especially women.
that's
And
right.
I ate a piece of chocolate. I'm like Helga.
Mhm.
One, right? Or I go ahead and I like don't get enough sleep. Or if all of a sudden I walk into the other room and news is on, I'm like, oh my God, turn that shit up. All of a sudden, like, who are you? Like, I don't
Mhm.
care about your feelings. Let's get facts. You're alive. You're breathing. You have a family. Do you have enough money in your account to eat today? Yes. Great. That's all we have is right now. We only have today. So it's learning how to get in the moment. So you start cherishing because all we are is moment, 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 just in a calculation. 24 hours a moment. Let's stabilize right now. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel okay. I'm like, wow, that was easy. You could do this on your own.
Good. And the other thing you brought out, so you wrapped a lot of things around it. I'm going to pull out the other law of the mind that you had in there, which was the law of growth, which is what we focus on grows. And that was very key. You said, get out of
Mhm.
that past is let's find out what good you have today and what you have there, and let's just focus on it, add to it, and let it grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, there's your miracle. And
Yeah.
then God, thank you, God. How about the best prayer ever? Thank you, God. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Thank
think
you. Thank you, God.
prayer is such a great way for people to move beyond where they're stuck.
No.
It's just so valuable. Prayer, meditation, whatever people like to do. So
Yeah.
getting in touch with the higher power. And I think when people pray and look for assistance outside themselves and even outside their community and outside the world, you know,
Mhm.
it's a whole different ball game. It's like, okay, I can get help. I can start
Sure.
thinking.
And then you find out that I have it in me the whole time. I've been looking elsewhere.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's meditation brings. It's that full circle. I go
mhm,
outside to get fed, and then I realize I am the root of my nourishment. I
yeah,
always say, out here is my living, in here is my life. My life must be the most important thing ever,
I
not
really like that.
my inside life. Because this is where it all comes. My roots, I got to go look at my roots. A tree is not the leaves or the branches. That's a byproduct of the roots.
Yeah.
So we go deep down into the basement, clear the stuff out, realize that half of this trauma stuff doesn't even belong to me. So get to discard it. And when you have somebody to go with you, if you say to do it yourself, you're like, oh no, I'm not going there. I'm not. Oh, for no, change the channel. I'm not going there. But when someone who's been down that path and says, I've done it, you can do it, I'm going with you, let's go.
Yeah,
That's
I like
where
that.
the community comes in. That's where I feel safer. And then I feel obligated to help another human being because all of a sudden I have this relief and I go, oh my God, I want to show someone else how to do it. How can I show them? Please, God, who can I serve? How can I show them?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's excellent. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the Well Wave Now show, Hillary.
Thank
And
you for
and
exciting.
if any of our listeners today are still feeling a little bit stuck, do you have an online source? Can people reach out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a website, HillaryMombergerPowers.com. You can get me on Meet with Hillary .coach. You can I can set up a meeting. I can either guide you or I can guide you to where you want to go.
Okay.
I always say, I want to be your guide. I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to be your God. I want to get you to your God
Yeah.
and let you be your guru.
That's excellent. Appreciate you being on today. And, for most people, they think about recovery as just removing something from their life. And with you, Hillary, you showed us that real freedom comes from rebuilding who you are. So
Mm,
you have not just stopped a behavior, you've changed the identity behind it and turned
mhm.
that into a mission to help others do the same. So thank you for that. And that's been our program today. Please subscribe to the the Wellness Wave Club YouTube channel, and also join our Facebook community for a lot more resources there. Share this episode with somebody who needs it. And always remember, wellness, it's in you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.